All right, this race is just about to begin. Both runners are readied up. Let's go. Here we go.
Uncle promising a sub 2-hour seed? I'd like to hope so.
Well, let's see if the uncle is right. 20 rupees inside the first chest, so nothing really good here at the start. We get a first map check, and green pendant over at desert. The other two are crystals.
Always nice to see a couple of crystal dungeons in the light world. Makes for a slightly faster seed.
Okay, as we go ahead and head on over towards the uncle, let's go ahead and see what the guaranteed item is going to be.
Still crossing my fingers for hammer. Haven't seen that one yet.
Here we go. Uncle has the hammer. There you go.
Yeah, got it. Finally have a hammer start to my name.
And this also works here. You can go ahead and kill these two guards with these. Maybe see if you can't get yourself the good prize pack of the bombs. gamercal picks up the blue tunic, and Sonic does too. Datlossit.
Blue tunic's definitely handy. It'll prevent any unintentional deaths in the early game. Always a great item to have. Great safety.
Okay, so Mr. Iliada, Mr. Witch, what do you think is going to be in the chest we find inside the first chest here in the castle?
I think we're overdue a piece of heart. There's always lots of piece of hearts kicking about. We will need to find that single small key in the chest somewhere as well, so that has a potential as well.
Alright. And we get ourselves a single rupee.
Well, it all adds up in the end. We will need at least 100 rupees for checking the bottle merchant, and then rupees will come in handy for Zora, and maybe even having to buy bombs if we are that way inclined.
Well, you see, Datlossit has that 1 rupee advantage over gamercal at this point.
We'll see if that makes a difference. I very much doubt it. Most of the rupees we get will be in 300s and 100s kicking about the place.
gamercal having a little bit of issues with that guard. Unfortunately, got clinked with the sword. Therefore, the hit didn't register, so that put him behind a couple of seconds behind Datlossit at this early on in the run.
Yeah, another big 20 for our collection. If we hit 50 rupees before we get to Kakariko village, it's very useful. We can farm up the second 50 rupees we need for the bottle merchant from assorted 5s kicking about in blinds up.
That's providing we can find where the bombs are. So it looks like gamercal is going to go with the pod strats here and uses 1 pot, uses the hammer. That's pretty solid. They also want the combat method of the hammer, both pretty sound ways of going about it. So Datlossit first to get Zelda, and we're going to head up to the up the stairs.
And that's our small key from a chest that we were guaranteed to get. There's just the map out there, and then everything else will be proper items. Opting to not kill any more guards down here. We'll probably see some snakes being farmed with our hammer. Try and get that bomb drop.
So as I head upstairs, we're going to make our way over towards the remainder of this escape process into the sewers. And at this point, I think both of the runners are thinking, well, I guess not. gamercal ended up getting a bomb off a guard. That helps. I was going to say that both were going to wait until we get to the ropes and the rats in order to see if they are part of that bomb-dropping prize pack.
Yeah, that 1 bomb will definitely help out gamercal. Hopefully Datlossit has similar luck with the snakes down below.
So Datlossit here is going to go ahead and kill these ropes, hoping that they can be part of that prize pack. And unfortunately, he's finding no bombs. Still no bombs here for Datlossit. Come to chest. There's the hookshot.
Hookshot's a handy item. It doesn't open up a lot of locations immediately, but it's definitely going to speed up overworld travel, help us kill some mini moldorms, and it opens up a bunch of locations eventually.
So, Datlossit did get the bomb drop, by the way. So both runners now with a single bomb that helps out, and we kill easily with a hook shot. And we're gonna find out what's in the back 3 of Escape.
We're still due the map, so there are only 3 items between this and the sanctuary chest. Let's see what we'll get.
If the map doesn't show up in these 3, we know it's in the sanctuary. There's 3 bombs. That's good for the next part, and we do know now the sanctuary chest will be the map.
Those 3 bombs are definitely going to be useful. That's a few bombs will help us get around the Kakariko area and get a lot of items down there. I'm sure we'll see both runners head over there after Sanctuary. Both runners astutely noticing that the map is in the Sanctuary chest and saving a few seconds there.
Yep, and there's gamercal getting the map check. Here is Datlossit will be the first one of the 2 to head on over towards. Well, looks like Datlossit wants to find out some information about this seed. So does gamercal.
Both players heading to Aghanim. There's no particular time differences there. It's a good information to know, but we can't do a lot about it at the minute. A lot of runners have been known to check it whenever the boots eventually show up while they're checking the bonk rods.
Solid 5 drop here from the tree pole.
Never have enough rupees at this stage of the game.
And we have a heart container at the lumberjack, so Aghanim for that purpose will not be required.
It's not completely off the table yet, but we do have a third of our Dark World access already. Typically, the hammer is the item that gets Aghanim the most. Just get a pair of gloves and a moon pearl, and we're good to go. Nobody likes to do Aghanim.
There's the cane of Samaria, so my guess is already out the table for the last item.
Cane of Samaria is definitely a useful item. It's almost certainly required. So 2 full dungeons, and then probably in Aghanim or in Ganon's Tower as well are required. It also speeds up a number of smaller rooms in around the place. Not sure if we'll see our runners use it as a weapon, given that they have the hammer and the hookshot, but it has its uses as well.
Again, those 3 bombs out of the back of Escape are going to help here immediately, so we're going to be able to check the bay behind of Blind's hideout.
And we'll get a few rupees in here, which will assist with checking the bottle merchant as well. That bottle's extremely useful. That means we'll be able to check the Sick Kids item while we're in Kakariko for the first time, instead of potentially having to come back for it. Bug net's also a very nice safety, goes very nicely with that empty bottle.
So Datlossit now here heading on over to the well. Let's go ahead and see what we have inside. More chests for the taking.
Another 5 item locations in here. It's a huge wad of cash out of the first chest.
Yeah, both of these runners getting a whole lot of money here in Kakariko Village. And in the back of your mind, even though it's not something that is in sequence at any point, you got to start wondering if Zora is going to come into the play.
And we'll be sitting at 430 rupees after the bottle merchant check here, so there's the potential of a fake flipper over to the Zora area. Bottle merchant giving us life lessons. I'm sure the big man down at the waterfall will be doing the same.
There's the Moon Pearl.
It's 2/3 of our Dark World access. an extremely required item and one that's extremely nice to see early. See Datlossit heading over to spend some of his hard-earned rupees on some bombs. See gamercal doing exactly the same thing. A few bombs will definitely assist with checking the last few locations here. We're apart in the back of the bar, and what do we have offset? Some more bombs. This item in the library is an interesting item to check early. We can't access it at the minute, but it's always handy to know what's there.
Single arrow!
Don't think we'll see anyone coming back for that.
Why not?
10 arrows in the race game as well. That's a lot of arrows.
That's rude, though. Why don't they want that single arrow? I guess I wouldn't want that single arrow either.
See a bit of divergence here. See where Datlossit's heading. gamercal's undoubtedly heading down the South Shore.
I really have no idea where Datlossit was trying to go at that point. Maybe he was trying to... Oh, that was an interesting strat, throwing the bomb there, too. I think that was out of frustration at that point.
Yeah.
Anyways, Datlossit does have Dark World access if he wants, and it looks like that's exactly where he's going. He's going to go... No, he's going to go to the dam. No, he doesn't have Dark World access. We still need a lift upgrade. Duh. The whole reason why he ended up frustrating himself with the bomb in his house because he didn't have an lift upgrade at that point.
It's interesting that he headed over to Sanctuary, to the graveyard area. It looked like he was gonna do the backup escape, but even though has no lift upgrade and has checked it already, maybe he's just a bit confused, thinking too far ahead and forgot what he was actually doing in the moment.
Yeah, maybe he was thinking, I can check King's Tomb? No, maybe I can check this. It's one of those cases where you've got to just calm yourself down and just forget that you just tried to pull that off, because a lot of this game, really it comes down to is keeping your cool when bad scenarios happen.
Yeah, just stay calm.
Oh, Chad is bringing up an interesting concept that I wasn't even thinking of. Datlossit may have been trying to set up the Houlihan.
Yeah, could very well have been. He is a few rupees short of Zora. Maybe he was looking to dig up the last bit of money and fake flipper over there. Unfortunately, his lack of gloves put a stop to that.
And as such, obviously, without the glove, he had no way of pulling it off.
So yeah, Ice Rod Cave check here, and it's a rather out of the way location. It's nice to try and get it out of the way early.
Done prize pack, by the way, is a single rupee.
Yeah, it's done a few enemies to be able to dig up the money for Zora.
Yeah, he's got a stun. What is that? 77 enemies right now if he wants to get the money for Zora. Very, very doable, but way too much time.
I see gamercal walking back down, and that probably indicates the fake flippers over to the Zora area. With that Moon Pearl in tow, we can get just 2 items there, I suppose. 3 if we check Hobo.
So, gamercal setting up the fake flippers. Get himself too close to the edge of the screen, but now he gets it here, and now fake flippers into play. We could possibly find ourselves accessing Zora if we get the money for it. Looks like gamercal is immediately going for the waterfall, which is interesting given his 367 rupees.
I see Datlossit is following suit. He gets it, the fake flipper first time. He's going to head off to Hobo and check the Hylia Island chest.
That's a nice sequence break sword.
Yeah, and we see the flute on Lake Hylia Island as well. That means that if Mire is required, the mirror will be before it. Interesting to see.
Ooh, the ether's on the Zora ledge too, so that could make things interesting as we move along in this run. So Datlossit with 423 rupees gets a 20. So unfortunately, he will not have enough rupees for Zora either, but it looks like he will be sequence breaking his way to the sword as well. So neither of these runners will get the advantage from that early sword.
However, due to gamercal's writing, he isn't aware of the flute on Lake Hylia Island. That may be important information that might change things later. Looks like gamercal.
Well, he's diving into the water now, so he's gonna see that flute.
Nice.
And there he knows the flute's on the island. So that's just a quick route there. He does it that way on his way over to Eastern.
Yeah, it's a handy wee trick to know. And the flute, both players are now aware is gated onto the Lake Hylia Island behind Dark World access and Mirror. See what gamercal finds in Sesrala's closet.
And we have no reason to talk to him because we already know that Desert is going to be our green pendant. As gamercal blows himself up and to find a piece of heart, 50 rupees, and a 20 rupee, which puts him a little closer to what we need for Zora.
It means progression is almost certainly in Eastern Pass. However, there is Agina's Cave as well, which is very, very out of the way.
Good old Agina. Unless we find a few things here in Eastern. But who knows?
Datlossit is heading over to Sahasrara in the Eastern area as well.
Well, that's understandable at this point. You want to go to where the wealth of items are. If you end up going to Agina, and Agina has nothing like but like a 20 rupee, 5 rupee, arrows, bombs, something like that, you've just wasted the time while your opponent goes to Eastern and finds that apparently has your lift upgrade.
Yeah, definitely a strong play. We can't finish Eastern, even if we did do the Dark Runes because of our lack of bow. So we may end up having to come back here later, but that's kind of to be expected in most of these seeds. A dip in the Eastern isn't unusual. Hookshot's going to speed up this little side room here. Instead of having to go into the top and hit a button and stuff, we just get the hook over.
Yep, skips 2 rooms via that way, and there's our lift upgrade.
And that's Dark World access. That's 17-minute Dark World access with 4 hearts. That sounds dangerous.
Oh, don't worry. Thieves Town is going to be a pendant. That's the only thing they're going to be able to beat at this point.
It'll be definitely very impressive to see these guys go into Thieves Town with the amount of defense they have.
There's the big key. So you obviously want to try to finish this dungeon as much as you can pull out of it, because if this dungeon has the fire rod, that helps with your routing, because then you can make Skull Woods part of your game plan. But that's just a 20 rupee. So now the next item is going to be behind the lamp biologic.
Yeah, it's nice to get the big key there, but it's not going to change much here. With the gloves in tow, I could see that both players heading off to the Hype Cave area after this little trip, or maybe over to Village Void Castles.
I think they're going to do Hype Cave first. But that is where we may see our first route divergence.
Yeah, definitely so. We may call it Hype Cave, but it's lost a lot of its luster in recent times. Not particularly hype.
But the one time you skip over, it's the hypest cave you'll ever see.
And chat's pointing out that we could head up Death Mountain as well. There's a lot of items there, but that is a sequence break. I'm not sure how up for doing that the runners are.
We may see them up to do it, and the last item of Eastern is going to be at the Armos Knights. So gamercal first to Eastern by way of not checking certain things, and now gamercal is going to be able to head on over to the Dark World, and based on the start of Sanctuary, we are going to see the Village of Outcasts from gamercal.
Yeah, we might see a dipping in the Skull Woods, or we might see a trip into Thieves Town in our near future. Definitely be interesting to see where he heads, and the layout of the crystals in the last two pendants will definitely play into that as well. However, with our hammer in tow, we could do a full clear of Thieves Town.
As far I think the logic really wants him to go at this point, although what happens in the village of outcasts may dictate that too, because we could find certain things like as soon as this lamp is found, then we know by logic that this game may want them to go up to Death Mountain where the weight and items are.
Yep, given the flute is locked behind the mirror, it's very possible that the lamp is going to indicate where the mirror maybe even is. Or we might even find the mirror, and then we'll have a flute to get up Death Mountain.
There's our map check. We have 6 over at Mire. We have, I believe, there was 2 over, or the 5 over at Swamp. I missed to see what the other pendants were, though.
I saw a pendant at Pulse of Darkness. I didn't catch the last one.
Oh, Datlossit is going to sequence break up to Death Mountain.
Getting some route divergence here, while gamercal clears out the village of outcasts. Just finds a vanilla heart piece.
Apparently, Ice Palace was the other pendant.
I'm not overly surprised by that.
Neither am I. Could you tell the shocked expression in my voice here?
It does seem to have a disproportionately large amount of pendants in it. You'd think it was lower odds than it really was. And our red mail in the bombable hut. It's definitely going to help safeties.
5 rupees from the old man as Datlossit breezed through that dark room on the way up to Death Mountain. Obviously, we know that Datlossit has practiced that strat before. And gamercal has not gone into Sea House. Let's hope he doesn't forget that. I think he has in the past. But going through Thieves Town, let's see what we have inside.
A big key in the first chest. We'll see Datlossit checking Spectacle Rock. We have the mirror.
The mirror's there.
That's very interesting. That makes this sequence break very worthwhile. See the Bombos medallion in Thieves Town. Potentially useful. That mirror's definitely going to help out a lot with Datlossit's routing.
Yeah, routing is what we need here. As we see Datlossit try to set himself up for a bomb jump. But it doesn't look like he had the positioning right. He's going to go ahead and abandon it. And go back up to the mountain and go ahead and see what we have on the right-hand side.
It's interesting that he didn't opt to mirror up to the Hera side and clear it from top down, since he was up there. But I suppose it doesn't really matter.
I think he wants to see what's in the 7 first.
Yeah, seems fair. See gamercal making good progress through Thieves Town.
Like, you get through this 7 here, you got 4 hearts, you got blue mail at this point. It may make the best amount of sense at this stage to go ahead and see if you can't get yourself some health, maybe some better weapons at this point. And that will make the upcoming Tower of Hera better. In fact, at this point, it's still possible that the Tower of Hera is not beatable because we don't have a light source.
Yeah, definitely so. However, the game assumes that we have a light source that we're up because we're up here. The mirror being up here means we couldn't flute up here, so it'll be interesting to see how that affects his routing. He knows he can't. Wait, you could find the fire rod, I suppose, up here.
Yeah, that's the only light source he's going to be able to find up here because, as you just pointed out, there's the lamp right there. So lamp is in Thieves Town.
That's definitely interesting. It's not a particularly required item, but it's nice to know where the logic wanted you to go.
So, all we were saying now about light source, that goes gamercal's way. So if Datlossit sets foot into the Tower of Hera, and for whatever reason he's got to go downstairs, that puts gamercal gives gamercal a little bit of an advantage for not doing this via sequence break.
Yeah, it's definitely it's very unfortunate because of the way the logic is rooted. It's completely possible that we have to do the basement here. The game assumes we have the lamp already, so it's definitely going to be disappointing for Datlossit if we need to do a basement.
There's a heart container, so if there's a small key in this next chest, that's bad news. Bow in Thieves Town.
Thieves Town's loaded. That's definitely going to give gamercal an early lead, but I can see Datlossit heading
Small key.
straight down there.
Datlossit has to come back.
And that sequence break is definitely not paying off. Datlossit's going to head over and check Spiral Cave, and then almost certainly save and quit. Gamercal's going to finish off blind. Fighter sword versus blind shouldn't be too much trouble. It's a pretty scripted fight if you get it down.
Yeah, gamercal is of that skill set where he can kind of get this done properly, but he loses him out of the script. So he's now on the bottom hand side. And you got to be careful because those fireballs, no matter what you have on, will do full heart damage. No, he's not going to get it.
Could see him maybe dipping out here and taking advantage of his other items, coming back with a bit more health. There's nothing wrong with doing that at this stage, but he opts to go back in and gonna go for a round 2 with blind.
So gamercal is going to go ahead and try to grab another heart here in the pot just before blind, and then try to do this again. 4 hearts, this makes this a dangerous fight. And again, because no matter what mail you have on, whether it's blue mail or red mail, those fireballs will always do 1 heart damage.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna, like, his main defense at the minute is his red mail, and that's not gonna help at all in this fight. You see Datlossit heading off to the artist formerly known as Hype Cave.
And we already know that a lot of the value is up here in Thieves Town. Gamercal's in trouble again, down to 1 heart. This is where having a safety such as a Cane of Burna or such would be a really good thing. Gamercal just being super patient, but getting fireballed again.
It's very unfortunate. And Hype Cave is living up to its not name.
And Gamercal is going to say enough is enough. I am out of here.
As you mentioned before, he has opted to not check the sea house. That hopefully won't come back to bite him, but there's potential. As we mentioned before the race started, skipping locations is never a great idea.
So next place for gamercal is going to be the digging game, where between 1 and 30 will yield you your item. And it's on number 2. And by clockwork, that gives you a fresh new heart container because of that piece of heart. And gamercal is probably thinking, why couldn't I have this 2.5 minutes ago?
It's unfortunate, but more hearts are always good. That should help out his situation with defense. See, Datlossit found a big 20, I think that was.
Titans Mitt at Stumpy.
I think gamercal made the right choice to come over to the Village of Outcast area, as opposed to Datlossit's heading to Hype Cave and Catfish.
So gamercal is going to go ahead and visit the Hype Cave, which once again was not really all that much hype, but it will give gamercal some life.
Datlossit is opting to pick up a blue potion while he's in the area. It's a very strong play. Always handy for a safety.
And we're going to see Datlossit ended up checking the Quake Fish here. And then probably go and check to see what Zora has. Already knows the ether being up there, but whether or not he can get it depends on what we get in these next 2 items. So the play here for gamercal is to go up to Death Mountain. I believe that's where he's heading to now, because guess what? With that Titan's Mitt, now he can clear everything on that mountain.
Yeah, you'll be able to get his mirror. He'll be able to clear Tower Car. Be able to check what. That's a bit trolly.
That's an interesting mirror. Or a interesting mushroom, rather.
Yeah, the mushroom straight after visiting the witch's hut is a little trolly. Let's see if we have vanilla flippers. That would be extremely useful for Datlossit's time.
Yeah, the worst case scenario for Dad would be if the mushroom yields the flippers, because I think he'd be wanting to wait until he has the... Well, I take that back. I was going to say I think he was going to wait until he has the flippers to check, but I think there's something else that he may want to check first while he's got that mushroom in his inventory.
Yeah, we could get a fake powder onto the magic bat. Let's see if he opts to do that. He's saving quitting from Zora, which is to be expected. Let's see where he heads next. As you mentioned, gamercal is heading straight up Death Mountain. He's going to find his mirror very shortly.
So Datlossit now is going to go ahead and go to the village of Outcast. We'll get the wealth of riches that gamercal found. With 6 hearts and blue potion in his inventory, he will have a better of a chance against blind. As gamercal finds the mirror and knows what he's up to next, he pulls out the bombs. So he's going to try the bomb jump coming out of here, just like Datlossit tried to.
And Datlossit is heading straight over to the village outcasts area. He'll find all of his interesting loot in the area. Get our lamp and get our boat. That's the one.
And gamercal trying to line things up with the bomb jump, thinks he's got it. No, he doesn't.
That's unfortunate. It's an extremely difficult bomb jump to get. There's a lot of much more important bomb jumps that are a lot easier.
So gamercal's going to go ahead and shake this off. Datlossit's going to check Skull Woods, which we did not see from gamercal. So if, for whatever reason, Skull Woods has the vanilla fire rod inside, that could give Datlossit an advantage, as gamercal looks like he is going around in circles, forgot exactly where he was coming out of that cave, and now realizes where he is. It's time to head over to the east side of Death Mountain.
There's a lot of items over here for him. With those Titan mitts from Stumpy and Toe, he'll be able to check all of Dark World as well as Light World. He's heading straight into Dark World. And probably mirror into Light World and check the Light World stuff first. Just getting his portal in the next spot.
Yep, just getting himself all set up for a little bit later on. Perfect strategy here for gamercal. Sets it up over on the left side of the caves, and here we go with the same 7 that we saw from Datlossit. And we did notice that there wasn't anything really strong in the 7 here of the Paradox Cave. Some more money, a little more life, and again, what we saw from gamercal earlier, he won't sneeze. He won't be upset about the extra life here. He will be upset that he has to go back in and face blind later.
Well, that time will probably be made up for the fact that he'll undoubtedly kill Moldorm while he's here. Unlike Datlossit, he'll have to come back up to the Tower of Hera.
Yeah, because gamercal's going to be able to complete this, and if we find upstairs something good, like if the fire rod's up there, then we know that Datlossit had to come up here with the lamp first.
We'll see Datlossit making good progress through Skullwoods. Nothing of massive interest yet.
Yeah, he got the big key out of the vanilla spot there, and so he's checking this, and it's just an arrow upgrade. So Skullwood's not beatable at this time.
Well, at least he knows what's in it. He won't feel the urge to come back here. Not for a while, anyway.
So, Resident Sleeper Cave, the Spiral Cave without the boots.
Datlossit checking the bumper cave, just finds a piece of art over there. Might see him check the graveyard ledge, or nope, off to Bow's right cast we go.
He may be opting to wait until he has the boot so he can check the dash rocks as well as the King's Tomb, but there's been times when that graveyard ledge has had some sort of progression.
I see Datlossit heading straight for the Sea House. That's a location that gamercal did miss out on. That's just 20 rupees.
20 rupees, so nothing big in there. So, Super Bunny Cave, the 2 chests inside, and then gamercal will be doing some hook shotting over to the 4 chests that are in there. Misses the glitch there through the blocks.
He takes a little trip up the stairs and he's going to jump down the hole and find what's in the Super Bunny Cave, while Sonic goes super with his red mail.
If only that meant that he could go blitz mode through all the enemies.
If only it was that easy. I think we'd all be playing the Sonic Sprite if that was the case.
I know. 50 rupees a piece of heart inside Super Bunny, so nothing good in there so far. We are going to also see what the medallion required to get into Turtle Rock.
Yep, we don't know where... Continue.
I was going to say that the only medallion we've seen so far is the Bombos, and that's here in Thieves Town.
Well, we know where the Ether medallion is as well. It's on the Zora ledge.
Oh, that is right. Quake was required to get into Turtle Rock, so that's tasting a little vanilla.
Yeah, Quake's definitely not vanilla, so that'll be out there somewhere. Doesn't unlock anything except the Turtle Rock entrance, so it could literally be anywhere other than Turtle Rock and Ganon. So, pedestal hype. Find nothing at all in the hookshot cave.
I like the fact that you just mentioned that, because remember, with gamercal getting the Bombos, that now puts Ice Palace into play that you can actually beat at this point. It is a pendant, so you don't want to go inside, but it is in logic.
Well, not
oh,
quite
wait, it's not. You don't have flippers. What is it about flippers that's triggering my mind?
Yeah, strictly speaking, we could... oh, we can't quite... Well, no, we can't. We can pull the pedestal right this very second, if we wanted to. If we could beat all the dungeons if we fake flippers in the Ice Palace. I doubt either of our runners will do that. It's an option.
Unless the key's on the torch.
Very true. Desert Palace isn't guaranteed to be clearable quite yet. The gamercal going to get his coffee break down in the basement of Tower of Hera.
There's nothing good on Death Mountain here, except for that mirror. The mirror was the only item we found of significance.
It's true, however, gamercal is going to get his crystal from Hera, and he has the information that Quake, is required. Also might force, like Datlossit might think that he missed something, given his routing choices, and head back up to Death Mountain whenever he gets those tiny smiths. That could be unfortunate.
Well, by the time he gets those Titans, he will have done everything that gamercal has already done, with the exception of one place, and that is the south of Haunted Grove. There's the big key pickup for gamercal. Let's head up Tower of Hera. Let's see what's inside.
Yeah, there's one more item available in Tower of Hera, so that has every potential to be something good, something useful. I think we'll probably see our runners heading off to Palace of Darkness when we're finished with their respective dungeons. That is a lot of items. They're all very, very in logic.
And don't forget, the Eastern Palace, our most knights will have an item still.
Very true. And we have the mirror, so we can nip over there right in Sharpish straight afterwards. Sonic the Hedgehog picking up his bow. I'm not sure how to use that.
Silver arrows, that's the second item here in the Tower of Hera, so nothing that progresses the story as of now.
Those silver arrows are definitely going to speed up gamercal's boss kills later on. Undoubtedly, Datlossit will pick them up before Ganon. However, we'll see
Yeah.
how long he goes without those.
It's guaranteed unless Datlossit decides he's going to wait on Tower of Hera for the last dungeon. And that's also possible given the routing, because Datlossit could, because there's nothing progressive in Tower of Hera, decide I'm going to wait until I have Crystal 6 to go into the Tower of Hera.
Yeah, he could very well just go from Turtle Rock to Tower of Hera and then straight over to Ganon's Tower, which means gamercal has a lot of time to save. With silver arrows, he'd be able to kill Victorious with silver arrows.
Ooh, so blind dropped half magic.
That's a big deal. Not a lot to use it with yet, but it's a big deal.
Bombos. Well, the half magic, that's, or the Can of Samaria with the half magic, that's pretty much all you can do with it at this point. I wonder if Datlossit at some point here, and it does look like he is setting up for another sequence break. This here is fake powder. So you want to explain that one?
I'll see if I can get this right. Basically, this trick involves you have no magic at all, and then for whatever reason, whenever you have to go onto the mushroom and try and use the mushroom, and then swap to Cane of Samaria, and the Cane of Samaria will use the powder for whatever reason, and that's the gist of it.
gamercal making a rush back for Thieves Town. A little more life. This blind fight's going down pretty easily this time. And so now here's the setup, as you mentioned. He's going to use the Cane of Samaria, get that dun-dun noise, switch over to the mushroom, and this sequence break will yield a heart container.
These sequence breaks aren't paying off the greatest for Datlossit. See, gamercal's going to head in for his rematch with Blind. Now he has a few more hearts in the bag and get his half magic with any luck.
You know, the only sequence break that's broken, that has paid off so far, is the one that both of them pulled off with the fake flippers to get the first sword.
It's unfortunate that that's the only sequence break that's worked out. Datlossit seems to be very big on sequence breaking this seed, and it's just not playing the greatest at the minute.
And this is what makes this interesting at this point, is the whole idea that this seed does not expect them to have a sword yet.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. We're expecting to be fighting Blind with the hammer or the Cane of Samaria, but the sword itself doesn't open very many locations. It's handy for combat, but the only places we really need it for is for the back of Skullwoods, which we can't even get to yet because of our lack of Fire Rod.
Yeah, and when we get that, it'll be interesting. Here's the south of Haunted Grove. It has bombs, so nothing good in there, but we know gamercal is going to make his way over there in due time. I have a feeling he's going to have something in tow. Probably for him, it's going to be the purple chest.
Yeah, with him having picked up the Titan's Mitts already, this is his second trip into the Village of Outcasts. He'll be able to pick up the Bullfrog and take him home, pick up the purple chest, and check the hammer pegs.
Yeah, and I was going to say Datlossit picks up the Titan's Mitt.
You see where he heads next. He's actually did this little area around here with Type Cave and whatnot, so we'll see where he's going to head off to. Possibly the Palace of Darkness area.
Yeah, it seems to me like that's exactly where he's heading to right now. Palace of Darkness, or to get that final item that's in Eastern. And it makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of items over there. There's 5 items in Palace of Darkness, and then the one on Armor Snouts. That's a big stack of loot, and we need to do both of the dungeons anyway.
No, you only need to do one.
That's very true. We have a pendant in Palace of Darkness. I forgot about that momentarily.
But that doesn't mean that the Palace of Darkness isn't going to have anything in it.
Indeed, a lot of items in there. It's a relatively fast clear with the Mire in tow. We have the bow and hammer to facilitate any route we want through the dungeon. And gamercal making his way south with his purple chest in tow. He's going to check the the chest and this cave south of the grove.
And then after that, I think gamercal will go into Eastern as well as the Palace of Darkness as well. As we see Datlossit going into Eastern first, because the mindset here is if you get something from the Armos Knights that progresses the seed, that's going to keep you out of the Palace of Darkness, although the seed kind of gave you everything you need to beat that dungeon. So
yeah, it seems that the seed is calling us to do Palace of Darkness, but doing Eastern first is definitely, almost certainly, the correct play. We could even find a sword upgrade to speed up the Palace of Darkness clear.
Or maybe we'll find the flippers that actually finally puts the sword that they have in logic. Oh, Fire Rod!
That Fire Rod in the purple chest is definitely a great find. That's a required item, and lets us clear a few extra dungeons.
So gamercal morphed back to the Dark World here. He's on the Bombos Ledge, but he doesn't have the book just yet. So he's going to head on over to Agena. And this is our first check to see what he has.
It's completely possible he has an item, but the way the seed is playing out there, I feel that there's probably nothing in here, unfortunately.
So Skullwoods is now beatable, but it's not in logic. Unless this is the flippers or a sword. It's a sword! Skullwood's now in logic.
That's good to know. If I recall correctly, we grabbed both of our items from Skullwoods in our first trip, so it's just going in for a crystal, unfortunately.
gamercal has not gone into. It's only Datlossit who's been into Skullwoods at this point.
Oh, very true. gamercal putting that off is definitely going to save him a drop of time. Looks like he's going to head straight over to Skullwoods.
Datlossit facing off against the Armos Knights. This is not going to be a real tough fight, and he does get it pretty well and gets a refund on his arrows.
Yeah, he picks up his second crystal. It's nothing interesting in the Eastern, unfortunately, but sure. We need the crystals anyway.
Yeah, Datlossit is going to go into the Palace of Darkness. Now, if gamercal finds something interesting in this back section of Skull, then we know that gamercal is on the better route than Datlossit is at this point.
Yeah, and he's going to pick up a third crystal. It's definitely worthwhile to come in here and clear it out anyway. There's a few more locations that you don't need to worry about.
And we got a shield inside the first chest of the Palace of Darkness, but by logic, the seed wanted you to have that bow immediately.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to make any real progress via the logic anyway in Palace of Darkness without that bow. Luckily we have the bow, so it does make a lot of difference.
So the thing here with gamercal at this point, he can take care of the Gibdos in one hit with use of the Fire Rod, but also he can use the silver arrows if he chooses to do so. They go down one hit with the silver arrows as well.
Yeah, definitely. His combat potential is definitely extremely high in here. That half magic until as well means he can make excessive use of the Fire Rod if necessary. See Datlossit making his way through to undoubtedly a couple of keys here in Palace of Darkness.
And that half magic plus Fire Rod is nice for gamercal because that alone was going to make things a little easier for Mothula coming up. But getting gamercal tried to hit the Wallmaster with the pot. The pot missed just by pixels. He got grabbed. And this will cost him probably about 10-15 seconds. Not a huge loss, but just more annoying as you get ready to go against one of the annoying bosses of this part of the run.
Yeah, it's careful whenever little mistakes like that happen that you don't get frustrated with yourself and just stay calm and run.
And just a reminder, what gamercal is doing is in logic at this point because of the fact that he found the sword at Agena.
Yep, that feather sword we found in the waterfall cave isn't like it's not stopping us logically anymore. This curtain is logically able to get cut down. See,
As we
Datlossit
see,
setting up for his bomb jump. Gonna go through the dark maze backwards.
ooh, he missed the jump, and he's gonna try it again.
I'm gonna opt to do it the old-fashioned way.
It's a perfect placement, I believe, to do to pull that jump off, and he was just a little bit outside, and that's how that ended up not going too well. As Mothula here, once again, half magic. Master Sword is not that big of a deal at this point because you have half magic. There's the flippers in the Palace of Darkness.
And that puts everything back in logic for us, and also gives us access to the Swamp Palace if we decided to head out that direction. It means our pendant Palace of Darkness is definitely a play that's necessary.
So that now means that Datlossit has access to that flute.
You'll be able to go over to the Mire area and check what is required over there. Maybe even dip in the desert if you that way inclined. Being able to get in the desert from the backside does speed up that dungeon a bit if he decides he wants to dip into another pendant dungeon.
And gamercal getting a key out of the chest there. He still has yet to find the second item. The second item turns out to be inside the big chest. It's just an arrow upgrade. I missed to see what Mothula ended up drying. Or Mothula dropped, rather. Remember, gamercal did not explore this earlier. Only Datlossit did. We do get 3 bombs, and Datlossit has decided, I am not finishing this dungeon.
It would have been interested in seeing a menu there before he left, to see if we knew that Helmstor was holding a dungeon item. Let's see where Datlossit heads next. Undoubtedly to go and get his flute. It speeds up traveling a lot.
Thank you to Chad telling us the Moth dropped a heart container, so there's the second item for gamercal. Time to get out. Does gamercal check Graveyard Ledge now? It's a spot that seems to be interesting. It either has something big or it has nothing at all. And if you skip it, it usually has something big. Datlosit's heading over to the swamp now.
Let's see if he opts to clear it. It's a very long dungeon to do, but it's, as a crystal here, it's a mandatory dungeon, and it does have 6 items. It's pretty hefty on the loot.
And by the way, now this place is Ice Palace in logic.
That it does. Ice Palace is a dungeon not unlike Swamp Palace that people would typically like to go mode, but given that it's a pendant, it doesn't make any real difference. We'll see if they dip into more pendant dungeons. There's a few crystals he can complete, so I doubt that will be on the table.
And based on the way that gamercal is walking at this point, I wouldn't be surprised. No, he can't. He doesn't have the flippers, and he's got no way to hookshot over. And it's just 20 rupees inside the Graveyard Ledge. So without the flippers, gamercal can't go over to check the Quake Fish at this point. And I think the next play for him is to head over to Eastern as well as the Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, it seems like where the most items are for him, he'll be picking up his flippers, and that'll maybe send him off to get the flute, or send him off to Swamp Palace as well. Datlossit's making good progress through Swamp Palace, and nothing of interest so far.
Yeah, this makes total sense here, as gamercal does not have the way to do the skip to get the flute early. You need the boots in order to pull off the water dash, and without the boots here, gamercal is unable to do so, because the best time to be able to try to perform that trick would have been if you were heading out of Skull Woods.
And he's opted not to. Well, he can't opt to sequence break that because of his lack of boots. And see him heading up to check the pyramid.
Yeah, does he check Quakefish first, or does he head into the Palace of Darkness? We know that's where he needs to head. We know that's where gamercal needs to head at this point, because of the flippers inside Datlossit and Swamp. And I'm thinking either Swamp is going to be that kind of play that has something nice in it, or it's that kind of play that says, no, you actually need to get that flute and head into Mire next.
Yeah, with the very early, all the items necessary to complete Mire, I feel that going over to Mire would be a good play here after picking up your flute. It also lets us know the medallion information. If it's Bombos, it's undoubtedly where the seed wants us to go.
If it's Ether, we know where Ether is.
This is very true. Maybe pick up Ether before we head over there. That might be gamercal's plan as well, checking a few more locations to see if he gets the flippers, and he can do Zora along with grabbing Ether when he's doing Catfish. Might have been in the back of his head. He knows that the flippers will be quite soon. There's very few locations that gamercal hasn't checked, other than Palace of Darkness. And I'm sure with the flute on that island, he knows the flippers will be coming soon.
We know we need Quake because that is the medallion to get into Turtle Rock. We know where the flute is. It's on the island at Lake Hylia. There's the book for Datlossit, and that is interesting. It's not what will get him into the desert, but maybe there's something on one or both of the tablets.
That's very true. Unfortunately, Datlossit doesn't quite have his Master Sword yet from Agin's Cave, but when he picks up that, I'm sure he'll be disappointed because he probably just jumped off the Bombos tablet ledge.
Well, that depends on what's inside. I mean, if there's junk inside there, he won't mind it, but if it says something about the Quake, he'll want it, and he'll want it bad.
Very true. He'll be able to check those tablets at the very least with his book. I think gamercal making the same play Datlossit did and is clearing up Eastern Palace first.
And this is where we see the talent of Datlossit coming out, because he knows how to do Master Sword Argus without menuing. Having a little bit of an issue, but I can say he's doing a whole lot better than I would.
Yeah, it's definitely a very awkward strat to use. You'll see a lot of people with Fighter Sword and Argus just resort to hammer strats, which involves a lot of menuing.
Yeah. If you want to have a nice 6-minute menu, that's the easy way to do so. Argus is down. Does he drop anything good? He drops a map. Here, you can now find out how to get to your dungeon.
It leaves 3 items on the left side, counting the big key, and then he'll have to walk back if he opts to go back in the dungeon with those 3 items.
Called a race yesterday where the bow turned out to be on the left side. Obviously, that's not going to be the case here, but we could have something big on that left-hand side. And you never know, if a runner ends up gambling that, it could become very problematic. gamercal now going into the Palace of Darkness. He will be happy to find the flippers there. Again, that leads to 2 items that we know of. The flute on the island, as well as the Ether on Zora's ledge.
The flippers will definitely unlock a lot of locations. There's still a few items that we require. The ice rod is still out there somewhere, along with the Quake medallion, and potentially need the Quake medallion from Mire as well. But there's not. The chances of that are 33%. See, Datlossit did head straight into Swamp again to get those last 3 items. See what they are.
Yeah, the big thing for Datlossit right now is that he needs to do the trading sequence with the breadsmiths to get to where the flute is. And remember, because he has the fighter sword, he does not have easy access to that crystal right there. So he has to use the boomerang in order to change that.
There's a number of different items we could use for that, but most people, like you typically have a Master Sword there and you could swing straight through the wall. Unfortunately, the Fighter Sword is significantly smaller. Gamercal making good progress through the path of darkness is opting to go a slightly different route. Datlossit would have or mirrored out of there. Gamercal's opting to move back instead.
Well, that's if the bumper doesn't play bad with him. He's just going to walk here. No Mire, because I think what it is he's trying to save that key. That key
having
he could otherwise spend.
Yeah, having used the key to come in the front door does make routing a little more awkward.
But now with that drop down, he will mirror. He will end up doing the using the key. And Datlossit ends up only finding 2 pieces of heart on the left-hand side.
Yeah, the big key of Swamp is locked inside the big chest.
Yeah, congratulations to the Ganon minion who ended up doing that. He's fired.
It's definitely interesting that they swapped the logic around a little bit in the most recent version to allow that to happen. You see just couch cash on the Bombos or tablet. Sure, he'll be pleased to see that once he picks up his Master Sword in a second.
And there is the Master Sword for Datlossit.
Gamercal's going for a second attempt at this bomb jump. He gets it. He's going to be very pleased to pick up his flippers very shortly. See, Datlossit is heading into the Dark World. Is probably going to head off and grab his flute.
There's the mirror shield there for Gamercal, and as he continues to progress through this dungeon, he will soon find the flippers, which moves along this seed. So Datlossit now going to go ahead and pick up the flute. Now, when he does the trading sequence, he may opt to do that when he goes back to the village to activate the flute. We'll see in just a moment.
We'll see if he is going to head off and grab his ether medallion as well while he's in the area.
Makes sense. You don't know if it's required for Mire, and you don't want to take that gamble and to find out you've got to backtrack over this way.
Yeah, definitely a strong play. See, Gamercal with his flippers in tow is going to go and check the last few chests in Palace Darkness. Or he's off to kill Hamster, actually.
Well,
I
was going to say, well, here's the thing. First of all, we don't have all the items for Go Mode just yet. We're still missing the Ice Rod, we are still missing the Quake, and it's still possible the boots could come into play. Not for Desert, but could come into play for Ganon's Tower. We don't know if they're going to be, if that's going to be the case. But here's the thing is, the pedestal could still be required at some point.
Yeah, definitely. So there's no reason why the Ice Rod or Quake Medallion couldn't be in the pedestal. And with Helmsor having an item, he's here already. It's pretty reasonable choice to go and kill Helmsor. There's potential that Helmsor just has the Ice Rod as well, which would be great.
But didn't we earlier discern that the last item on Helmsor was going to be a dungeon item?
I'm not sure. I think I spotted a menu there, and he had his full complement of dungeon items. Oh,
so Helmsor will have an item then.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that we didn't see a menu, and Datlossit just saved and quitted. You might have misheard me.
Yeah, I did. So therefore, now I understand why Gamercal is going here. Okay.
You see Datlossit waking up the flute.
And Gamercal using the silver arrows to kill off the Helmsor King. One silver arrow, he's dead.
Datlossit is going to go hand in his mushroom, just a 5 bomb capacity upgrade of Helm Store.
And what does the potion shop yield this time around? It yields 50 rupees, a refund if you decide to buy some potions. So gamercal, now with the flippers in hand, is going to make the way over to Quake, and now can route in the ether there. And remember, gamercal hasn't purchased the bomb upgrade off Zora yet.
Yeah, it's gonna get a few treasure chest checks done at the same time.
Yeah, what do we need for Mire? It's Quake. We can get in. We can't get in.
It's a few more locations off the table for the location of Quake. It guarantees us to have a go mode of both Mire and well, I suppose it doesn't really, because Ice Rod could be somewhere.
Yeah, that depends on where the Ice Rod is, but Quake for both Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. And now the question becomes, where could those be? They could be anywhere.
Looks like Datlossit's going to take a wee trip into the Desert Pass.
Anyways, gamercal had changed things up from what I was thinking. He checked, that was good routing there to check the hobo at that point. And gamercal is going to go get this flute at this point. I don't think he's going to get to Quakefish. And now that we know that the mushroom's not required, also boots not required for desert, now that we know that the mushroom's not required, it's not going to hinder gamercal at this point.
Yeah, that Catfish is a location you really don't like to check. It's very out of the way. And with him, well, he's not going to check Zora straight away after all. Not pick up his ether medallion, which won't matter, I suppose.
We now know that ether's not required, but gamercal doesn't know it. Datlossit also doesn't know what is the requirement to get into Turtle Rock at this point.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but he is aware that he still needs Quake for something, so he won't assume he'll be able to get into Turtle Rock. Well, he might, I suppose, but there's still a few locations left he could check first. Be interesting to see when Datlossit opts to do the trading sequence and get his Fire Rod. Might even see a pedestal check whenever he heads up to the Skull Woods. Pedestal hype is pretty high.
So gamercal is going to go probably head on over towards the Misery Mire area, and the thing with gamercal is he will now know at that point that ether is not going to be required, so he has no reason to go back to that Zora ledge.
He might be a bit worried about the item on Zora. However, he is going to head straight to Mire. See Datlossit heading off to Lamolus to get the green pendant. It's worth an extra item in here. Hopefully it'll make his trip in here worthwhile.
Nice juke move there by gamercal, getting around the Myrtle Dactyl. That's a football move.
Yeah, those things are extremely dangerous and will beeline straight for you. He did some very good dodging.
I do want to point out this fight against the Lamolus is going to be much easier for gamercal because he's going to have the silver arrows, which Datlossit, because he has not gone to the Tower of Hera since finding out that it was fire source blocked. Yeah, he's been missing out on the silvers, and it almost seems to me like Datlossit is trying to route this in so that Tower of Hera will be his final spot.
Yeah, that's going to work out for him with the exception of not having the silver arrows until the very end, which he will lose a fair chunk of time on Vitreous at the very least. Lost some time there on that Lamolus fight, and we'll lose a bit of time on the Helmasaur King, but not a massive amount. I feel that these guys will be able to do Hammer Helmasaur relatively straightforwardly. As he Datlossit make his way over to the Checkerboard Cave. This is his last check in the Mire area.
We find a fairy in a bottle there in the Checkerboard Cave. A nice safety to have if you want to go ahead and grab it.
He opts not to. Let's see where he's off to next.
He's going to flute to 3, and I think this is now where Datlossit will start doing the trading sequence. Or he's going to check to see what's on the pedestal. He's checking to see what's on the pedestal.
Yeah, everyone, I'm sure, getting nice and excited in chat. This pedestal check could pay off for him if he knows. Unfortunately, he's left the Helmsword King behind, so I'm sure I'll be very disappointed if it is a pedestal seed.
Yeah. If this is Ice Rod or the Quake, this is a pedestal required seed. If this is Boots, it may be a 4% chance of it being a pedestal required seed. Maybe more. And it is bomb storage, low price. It is not a pedestal required seed. So going to the Helmsword King or not going to the Helmsword King, it was good for Datlossit in that case.
Yeah, he saved a bit of time there. Let's see where he's heading off to next.
He's trading in the green pendant.
We'll see if Lamola's paid off. Gamercal is also on his way to the Lamola's fight. He's going to have a very fast Silver Arrow fight. And then he'll be able to turn in his green pendant also.
And if Sarashula doesn't have this, then the answer is Ice Palace. Sarashula has the red rupee. The answer, in this case, has to be Ice Palace.
Yeah, the locations that we have left are Ice Palace and the Ether Tablet, which is a million miles away. But Datlossit is going to head up there. He'll be able to fix or finish off Tower of Hera while he's up here. And he hasn't checked Dark Death Mountain yet either. So there's a lot of locations up here for him.
Yeah, and also here's the other thing. He can check Ether. You can check the Ether Tablet.
Yep, he'll be able to check the Ether Tablet and maybe get some sort of strange Quake on the Ether Tablet.
Or Spike Cave. Spike Cave is in logic. We have half magic. We have a cape.
Very true. A few locations up here.
Gamercal skipping out on the ferry as well. So the answer is maybe not just Ice Palace at this point, because there are 2 locations up here on Death Mountain that are still in play, as Gamercal is going to go and find out the bad news about the green pendant.
Let's see, the Ether Tablet's the first one we'll be checking.
And Ether going to yield a heart container.
The only unchecked locations are then Spike Cave and the Ice Palace.
So Datlossit is skipping over Hera. I, again, am under the assumption that Datlossit wants to save the Tower of Hera for the back-to-back combo with Ganon's Tower. I really think that. And that may be more of the reluctance, because you already found one item in the Tower of Hera. You don't have the second item at this point.
Datlossit is going to get his information about Turtle Rock not being accessible. See, Gamercal is heading into Swamp Palace by the looks of things. And retreading steps that the other has already taken.
So Gamercal's going to get his book. There was nothing good on the Bombos tablet, was there?
It'll be interesting to see if it has a potential item.
So hookshot gate for Datlossit is going to come up empty. Gamercal going through Swamp Palace. Once again, we already know what's inside based on what Datlossit found earlier. We know that the book is going to be found.
Let's see, Datlosit's going to check the last couple of chests in Dark Death Mountain. We'll see if he does decide to eventually do Tower of Hera and maybe the Spike Cave. That'll be interesting to see who the first runner is to head in the Ice Palace, or if Quake is here. Because even if we find Ice Rod at this stage, it still doesn't actually unlock anything. We need to find a Quake to get into one of the 2 dungeons first of all.
So it does look like Datlossit is about ready to either go into the Tower of Hera or with the Mire, we're going in the Tower of Hera now. So Datlossit will be getting the silver arrows, which is a good sign to see.
Yeah, he won't be losing any time on Vitreous compared to gamercal. Always a nice item to have for the Ganon fight as well.
Oh, absolutely. So good to see Datlossit finally going into the Tower of Hera, because this here, once again, if you were trying to save this to last, you were going to skip over the silver arrows unless you decided you, by random, you're going to check that one chest. And I can see why you would end up checking that one chest. It's right there on the way. But the big thing for Datlossit, he needs to do the trading sequence.
Yeah, he definitely does. His lack of fire rod is definitely going to hamper his style very shortly. I see Datlossit getting his coffee break in the tile room. Gamercal heading out to the back of Swamp Palace immediately.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Datlossit ends up checking Spike Cave after he's done with Hera, and that's something that we haven't seen from gamercal. There could be something in there. There could be something really nice inside. At the hour 15 mark, and you know you're facing off against a good opponent, and both of these know who the other opponent are. They are regulars in races. They are regulars in the community. So they know who the other person is. They know what they're capable of. So they know that at the 1 hour 16, you're not in go mode, and you're still 2 items away from go mode, or in Datlossit's case, 3 items away from go mode. Your mind starts to really get a little sick inside.
Yeah, he definitely has to be worried that he's still 3 items away at this stage. He's probably assuming that his opponent has found all of the items he needs and is well on his way to Ganon's Star. Little does he know that gamercal's kind of in the same situation, a little further ahead because he's did the trading sequence, but I can't see Datlossit going in the Ice Palace before he does the trading sequence.
Absolutely. So as we move along here, it's going to be interesting to see how the runners start to act, because they may start to get a little antsy. They may start to make a few sloppy mistakes based on the fact that they're worried their opponent is miles ahead.
Yeah, it's definitely something they need to keep in check. They know what the seed's been given them. They know that the only real way for their opponent to be a lot ahead is if they gambled Ice Palace relatively early. However, this Spike Cave check for Datlossit, hopefully after he finishes Hera here, could spell a bit of a doom gloom for him if it is an item. In his mind, it obviously actually puts him quite far ahead.
So gamercal finishing off the Arcus fight with the silver arrow. Datlossit checking the Spike Cave once again with the arsenal that he has. This is quite the easy check to find.
Let's see if gamercal heads back in for the last 2 items in Swamp Palace.
And if this is Quake, this opens up a lot. It is the Quake!
And Ice Palace isn't required yet. See Datlossit head. He could just head straight over to Mire. That does put him a little further away from the training sequence. I very much doubt he'll head into Turtle Rock with his current loadout.
Spike Cave paying out. Datlossit heading to a dungeon that he can beat. So 2 items away from a go mode, or 95.6% go mode, if that was to be the case for Datlossit. But
Well,
this is where you gotta go.
There's not a lot of other locations that haven't been checked yet. If we are going to clear Mire and Turtle Rock, clear all of the chests, which Mire loses a bit of time, but he's not in go mode yet. And Turtle Rock doesn't really lose much time, especially with that mirror shield in tow. We probably find the boots.
Well, the thing is, at this point, Datlossit is in a dungeon that, unless you get the guide set up and the big keys in that second room that has chests in it, you're gonna have to go all throughout the dungeon to try to get yourself the big key anyways. So You know, this is the kind of scenario here where you may not lose a lot of time.
Yeah, very much that he'll assume the ice rod isn't here. We'll be getting this full clear of Mire here.
It's getting very, very difficult to figure out who has the lead in all of this.
Yeah, so far both of the players have made essentially the same plays. The only loss of time that Datlossit actually made is not checking Hera. You see gamercal coming in doing left side swamp, which Datlossit did earlier. Hopefully Datlossit checks the trading sequence immediately after Mire and doesn't go straight up to Turtle Rock and gamble both of the rods.
Well, good news. This is not the god setup to Mire. gamercal done with swamp. Probably will check the Bombos tablet while he's in this area. Where does gamercal go from here, though? Spike Cave is becoming one of those loose squares for gamercal, and I don't know when he's going to get back up there.
Yeah, the issue with Datlossit's routing earlier, not having did Hera or Dark Death Mountain, ended up kind of paying off because it meant he was in the area to check Spike Cave. gamercal will be going up Death Mountain to check just 2 locations.
20 rupees inside the chest there. 50 rupees was in the Bombos tablet anyway. So we found one of the 2 items here in Misery Mire.
Yeah, we're getting very close to 100% seed. It's looking very likely that the ice rod is in Turtle Rock. Us finding that powder.
We know that it's not in Misery Mire, but Misery Mire is part of that 5-6 combo. And gamercal is checking Spike Cave.
He's making a great play here. Not going in the Ice Palace is going to save him a lot of time. Well, assuming that Ice Palace doesn't have the Ice Road. Be checking the Ether tablet first for a big lot of nothing.
Oh, he's checking the Ether. Yes, that's right. He's checking the Ether tablet first. So he'll get the heart container here. Datlossit now with both items in tow already. So he's going to head on over towards Vitreous. And once again, Silver Arrows means that this is going to be a non-trivial fight.
Yeah, Silver Arrows are definitely going to make short work of Vitreous. Lots of hearts, so even a lightning bolt will be easily tankable.
This is a big play here for gamercal, and also the other part of the question is, where does he go from here? Because this will open up both Mire and Turtle Rock. Does he dare check Turtle Rock in this general area, or does he go Mire first? I would assume he's going to go Mire first. And based on the fact that he's not saving and quitting, he may do Turtle Rock first.
This could be very interesting. We know that Mire has no items in it, as Datlossit actually did the fake powder earlier, so the powder has been checked. So he's not losing anything really by going to Turtle Rock now, unless Datlossit is able to do Turtle Rock last. However, if Ice Rod isn't in Turtle Rock, he's in a lot of trouble. Oh, he turns out he's just floating away.
He is going to go buy some potions at this point. He wants to make sure that he doesn't end up dying in this next part of the run, because we've got the 2 hardest dungeons still on our plate. I assume at this point he'll flute to 6. Yep, that's where he's going. Fluting to 6. He'll go check Mire, so he'll get the 20 rupees as well as the powder. He did not do fake powder earlier. In fact, he didn't get the mushroom off the Quakefish, so he may opt at that point to check the magic bat, but maybe he'll go to Turtle Rock instead.
Well, there's still a few locations left available. It looks like Datlossit is going to head over to do his trading sequence, which is going to net him his fire rod. Extremely strong play. And gamercal is going to head into Mire as Datlossit just leaves it.
Yeah, so amongst everything that Datlossit still has to do at this point, I don't think did he not check Graveyard Ledge?
Well, it wouldn't seem so. That's another location that he can check. Hopefully that doesn't lead him too far away from the trading sequence.
Well, we already know that there was nothing good inside the Graveyard Ledge this time around. It was just rupees.
It's very unfortunate that he's heading over here, but it's nice to keep all of your checks nice and thorough. And it looks like we're going to end up in Ice Palace or Turtle Rock shortly to find the Ice Rod. Very few locations unchecked by both players.
That's what's really going to come. This race could come down to a Turtle Rock versus Ice Palace gamble at this point.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if either player opts to go in the Ice Palace. gamercal doesn't know what is or is not, in this case, on pedestal. So there's kind of 4 items in Ice Palace for him. And then there's the 6 items counting Mimic Cave in Turtle Rock. Another location that I'll probably get checked before any of that happens is the Pyramid Ferry, which both players can check now that they have did, when they've did Misery Mire.
I'm actually surprised that Datlossit didn't check that immediately coming out of Misery Mire, but the checks continue to be thorough here. Both runners are constantly moving forward.
Yeah, and Datlossit, is about to start his trading sequence, which will end with Power Rod. Well, it'll probably end with a Bubbles Tablet check. I don't think he... Or no, he did check it earlier and knows it's nothing. gamercal will be making short work of it race very shortly as well, using his Silver Arrows to great effect. He's picking up his powder, which is going to lead to a whole lot of nothing, unfortunately, except time wasted.
Well, it does give him a safety if he
Very
wants
true.
to have it for later.
You can couple that with his net and bottle that he has. I believe that. Oh, he has a blue potion in that bottle at the minute, so he can't quite catch a fairy. But killing anti-fairies is always a plus.
And gamercal remembers he has 2 items, so he's heading right straight to Vitreous. As Datlossit continues the trading sequence, so he will soon have the Fire Rod.
We'll see where that leads him. He'll be kind of in the area to check the Pyramid Ferry, so hopefully he'll check that before he makes a gamble in one of our 2 remaining dungeons. We might even see gamercal head to Quickfish before he goes to a dungeon, which will sort of appreciate his lead a little. I feel that he's maybe 30 seconds or so ahead at the minute, and that could be taken up quite nicely by the Quickfish.
gamercal did not have enough magic to weigh down the block of the Can of Samaria. Then that was an unfortunate side effect of not going the extra frames to pick up the full magic container before going down the stairs. So he ends up swallowing up that blue potion that he grabbed.
That's very
And
unfortunate.
Here comes the Pyramid Fairy.
And this is a check that neither player has made yet. It's potential to have our Ice Rod here. That'll definitely save us on the gamble between one of our 2 remaining dungeons. In Datlossit, as chat just reminded me, we'll need to head over and do Skullwoods at some stage, unfortunately. That's another maybe minute and a half that he is probably behind. A lot of that can be made up from gamercal opting to check Quickfish, however.
Yeah, it all depends on what gamercal does next. Again, we're still looking for the Ice Rod, and 4.4% chance that the boots are required in Ganon's tower. We don't know that. But what we do know is that the Ice Rod is what we need to get to Ganon's tower.
We have a pretty severe lack of locations left to check. Once the Pyramid Ferry is checked in just a second, we just have the 2 remaining dungeons. And the Pyramid Fairy comes up blank.
Yep, gamercal is going to check Turtle Rock. If this is another Turtle Rock ice rod, this could be big for gamercal. Datlossit is gonna, well, the way he was walking at first, I thought he was going to, but he's got still to go through Skull Woods. So here comes the play. If gamercal strikes out and the ice is not in Turtle Rock, that opens the door for Datlossit to make up the minutes that he has to go through Skull Woods here. If Datlossit joins gamercal in the search, that washes everything. This is a race that's not done yet.
Yeah, definitely not. If Datlossit opts to head over to Ice Palace after his trip into Skullwoods here, this Skullwoods won't last very long. He's got quite the loadout. Half magic, fire rod, 12 hearts. Shouldn't take him too much trouble to take down Mothula. A lot of it's just all dependent on if we have Ice Rod in Turtle Rock, as usual. gamercal is leaving a few locations behind here. He hasn't checked Quickfish or Pyramid Fairy, so he is making this gamble with what he thinks is 7 locations left behind with Ice Palace, and he hasn't checked Pedestal either.
Yeah, don't forget he also didn't
a little bit behind.
Yeah, don't forget he also didn't check Zora at this point.
Very true. It's 8 locations outside of Turtle Rock he would potentially need to check. Sonic, bunnies, and Mario. That's amusing.
There's the sprite dev team has done an amazing job with the amended sprites for all the different sprites this the randomizer has. As we see Datlossit going to hammer shreds on Mothula, this shaping up to pretty sound fight. Yeah, there we go. Bug killed.
Mothula goes down to Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, some of the sprites are amazing. They did a fantastic job on gamercal's Marissa sprite as well.
What is Datlossit's next move? Yeah, he's heading up to Turtle Rock as well. I can understand the move. It's a dungeon. Oh, no, he's got the flute out. Oh, he's fluting. Where are we going?
Looks like we're off the Ice Palace.
Oh, wow. This is exciting now. So the first Ice Rod will likely win this game. If the Ice Rod is an Ice Palace, that throws the Datlossit. If Ice is in Turtle Rock, advantage gamercal.
Yeah, I feel that Datlossit probably felt a little bit behind there once he found the Fire Rod in Trading Quest, which is actually true. It's a good read on his part, and he's opted to make the gamble in the Ice Palace. I feel that he's playing to win as opposed to playing to finish this seed, if that makes sense. Hopefully, we'll see how this gamble turns out. No Ice Rod yet for gamercal. He still has the plethora of chests in the back of Turtle Rock and Laser Bridge.
We see the big key in the first chest over in Ice Palace. gamercal's next chest spot is going to be the Mimic Cave.
Everyone's on the edge of their seat waiting to see where this Ice Rod turns out to be. It does have to be in one of these 2 dungeons. All of the locations that gamercal has skipped to earn his little bit of a lead he has are blanks.
So the first chest we're going to see is the Mimic Cave for gamercal as Datlossit gets ready to set up the Ice Palace bomb jump ! IPBJ.
Yeah, and this is a nice trolley location for the Ice Rod. Ice Rod and Mimic Cave is always one of those things that Twitch chat loves to go on about, because it is very, very trolly.
All right, inside Mimic Cave, we have 10 arrow upgrade.
Still a bunch of items to go yet, and before Turtle Rock is a blank. A few more items coming up here in Ice Palace as well.
We still have a shovel unaccounted for. 300 rupees.
And we also have the boots could very well be an Ice Palace, and then the Ice Rod could be one of the 2 boot lock locations. There's also the complete possibility that the boots are an Ice Palace and the Ice Rod is in Turtle Rock, and then Ganon's Tower is just boot locked. That would be even more hilarious.
Bottle and a fairy, that's 2 items in Ice Palace so far.
One more to go. Still
20
no
rupees.
Ice Rod.
Gamercal waiting out the roller rod because you don't want to get hit by that. That hurts really bad. And Datlossit is going to be checking the tea room here.
Good old iced tea room.
Let's see what the iced tea serves up. It's just a small key.
There's still a few locations left. I think we still have the big chest left, and then Cold Star himself.
But we still got right-hand side too, by the way.
Oh, there's a lot of locations left. I suppose we haven't found very many dungeon items either. There's only there's still two items left. There's the shovel! So we might have to leave Turtle Rock for the Ice Rod anyway, which would be hilarious.
It is not in it is not in Turtle Rock. This last one's a key.
So is it on the shovel is still a win for gamercal. That loss is coming up to a few chests here. There's this chest, whatever it vanilla has, and then we have the vanilla big key chest.
You get the map. Oh wow. And we have the compass. Coldster's got the final item inside the Ice Palace. Gamercal's gonna dig something up. Is this the Ice Rod? Is this the boots? It's the Ice Rod! Oh my goodness!
Into Turtle Rock.
Double dip Turtle Rock required 1 hour 37-16 seconds. Gamercal's at 95.6%.
Yeah, he's in go mode, okay?
My goodness. Now what if Coldster drops the boots and the boots are required too?
That's pretty hilarious. That's what Datlossit needs to happen. Like Coldster needs to drop required boots here, or else it's Gamercal's race to lose.
Oh my goodness, that is rude game. Shovel on laser bridge to yield the Ice Rod.
I have a feeling my Twitch chat's broken because chat didn't respond or react at all to that.
Oh, the chat is reacting, and they're reacting strongly to it. Remember, Coldster is going to drop the third and final item here in this dungeon. And that's nice use of the swing there to get him into the corner, get some good fire rod shots on him. Pretty decent fight there for Coldster for Datlossit.
He's making short work of. As far as Master Sword Coldster fights, that was pretty strong.
Oh, just 300 rupees.
So that undoubtedly puts boots in Ganon's Tower somewhere. Which is, well, I suppose there could be in Helmsor.
No, Gamercal went to Helmsor. We already know that it wasn't him.
Or sorry, not Helmsor. I meant to say Trinix. I meant Trinix completely. Yes,
that's right.
So the boots are somewhere in the future for Gamercal. He hasn't left them behind yet.
And this is unfortunate here for Datlossit. He's now probably 5 to 6 minutes behind because of the check of Ice Palace. And this now, Datlossit is going to be feeling sick at this point. gamercal is probably not feeling comfortable at this point, but Datlossit is going to be feeling a whole lot worse, having dug out Ice Palace to get nothing.
Yeah, I feel that before he went in the Ice Palace, he must have been feeling fairly far behind and decided to make that gamble. He's probably just playing on in case his opponent made a worse error. I doubt you can particularly surrender a match before your opponent does. But this is definitely gamercal's match to lose at this stage.
Yeah, the thing is you never know where your opponent is. So if this is a case where you see that the dot done hasn't come, maybe your opponent made the same moves that you did. You don't know. So you got to keep pressing forward.
Yeah, definitely so. You can't give up until the fat lady GG's. See, gamercal is going to go and deal with Trinax. Use that newly acquired Ice Rod to great effect.
And Datlossit did not grab the pendant, so out of Ice Palace. That's because he knew that the pedestal is worth absolutely nothing at this point. So gamercal going up against Trinax, Datlossit going to his first trip into Turtle Rock. Now, here's the interesting thing. If Datlossit sets up a portal properly, he can save a little bit of time on backtracking.
Yeah, it's something that gamercal opted to not do. It would be an interesting forethought on his part. He could have opted to take the safety room at the below Laser Bridge and portal out there. gamercal probably didn't do it because he had a lot more locations he could have checked if the shovel came up blank. But Datlossit knows that the ice rod's in here and will know that it's on shovel whenever it isn't actually.
Looks like gamercal is taking a lot of tanking strats there, but finishes off with the Master Sword Trinax, and what does he drop? He drops the heart container, and therefore gamercal getting ready to head on over to Ganon's Tower. And I really don't know what Datlossit is. That's an interesting stopping sprite. Okay. Ileana, we've got a game going on. You want to talk about it?
Yes, there's 22 locations available in Ganon's Tower. We like to play a game here where we guess where the key is going to be. So type a number between 1 and 22 in chat. Any supporters that are subscribed to any of the Speed Gaming channels or have donated 250 bits will have a chance to get onto our leaderboard as well if you win. I think I am going to go for a 5 today. 5's a nice number. How about yourself?
I'm going to guess chest number 14.
14. On a nice long trip into Ganon's Tower.
So here we go. gamercal going to go check the right-hand side, and we will know for certain if he's in go mode in just a moment if the boots are not required. Small key. That makes right side accessible. 20 rupees. Is he going right side? No.
He wants to get that torch check out of the way immediately. Just 10 arrows in the torch, so we are in go mode. I think the big key game might be broken. I don't see a ball.
And unfortunately, the bot not going to give us what we want today, but we'll continue to play the game. Chest number 5 has the Cane of Burna. Chest 6 has a small key, and chest number 7 we see a 5-arrow upgrade.
There's still a few items could be in here. We'll probably find the boots at some stage. It could be after the big key, I suppose. my guess was unfortunately for nothing. 5 turning up nothing. Get another heart piece out of the firewall room.
And gamercal trying to pull off the boomerang shreds. There we go.
It's surprisingly awkward with the lag meringue instead of the blue meringue. Blue boomerang makes those little shots a lot easier with its slower movement.
And good hook-shotting strats there to save himself from the damage. And chest number 9 has a small key. It's time to head to the randomizer room. Chest numbers 10 through 13 inside.
Is that room that is completely useless outside randomizer? Hence why we named it the randomizer room, because we are great at naming things.
Yes, hence K45.
That's a stupid name for a game. I just call it the South of the Grove. Item number 11.
And number 13 had a sword upgrade. There we go. gamercal heading up the tower. So if you guess chest number 11, you are a winner. Unfortunately, the bot being done, I guess we can't do anything regarding the actual presentation onto the leaderboard, but congratulations if you chose number 11. Watch the butter sword will be in the final chest.
I see gamercal's making some great progress through the gauntlet so far. We'll see how those silver arrows serve him in the combat rooms.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any sort of problem. He's switching over to the fire rod right now with half magic. That totally makes sense.
Yeah, and we'll see if he just goes bullet hell in this room instead of taking a dive into the pit.
Well, without the boots, you're kind of forced to just walking your way, and I think that's easier for you to avoid the cannons. As we go into the room number 2 of the gauntlet, that's solid right there. They all lined up in a good way for him to kill them in 5 seconds or less.
Yeah, the fire rod, for whatever reason, doesn't do its little burning animation on the stealth boss as well, which makes that a little faster.
Easily done with the gauntlet. Will he go ahead and power this anti-fairy, or rather the bunny beam? No, he will not. Time to go face off against the Lamb 02, and this here, once again, Silver Arrows. Easy fight, but he's 0 for 2 on the hits. Make it 1 for 3.
I guess a nice solid 2 cycle. They weren't playing particularly well in the first phase there, but 2 cycles are still pretty great.
3 for 5 on the shoot. Not a bad percentage. I'm certain some ballers would like to have that percentage.
Definitely so. See the Canis Maria coming in extremely useful in these couple of rooms. The enemies are just lined up flawlessly for them. Taking a plunge on this bridge, which is a bridge that very, very few people navigate the correct way. Most people just boot across.
And we get a guest appearance from your end here as gamercal makes his way through. And this is just a weird setup because you usually have boots for this room, so you just dash your way through these enemies. So when you don't have the boots, it puts you in a weird position.
Yeah, it's definitely something that most people aren't typically used to. It's like if you're ever up here with the cane, doing the cane rooms, it is just as complicated.
And when we saw Datlossit last, he was going through Turtle Rock, but we already know based on what ended up happening during this seed, this was going to be the first of 2 trips in for him. He still had yet to pick up the shovel, which yields you the ice rod. So it's a required double dip. So gamercal is definitely in the lead at this point, and it will come down to the final bosses here for gamercal, but picking up that tempered sword in the randomizer room along with the big key. So it's not a huge concern at this point. It would be a little bit different. We're talking Master Sword, but again, both of these runners are pretty good at this game.
Yeah, I can definitely not see gamercal having any issues with a tempered sword silver arrow Ganon. Let's see him coming up to the final boss of Ganon Star, this stupid room with the bumpers. He gets it down pretty nicely for someone without boots.
Yeah, that's even harder when you don't have the boots, because then you're on the mercy that makes sure that you're aligned with the stairs, and everything can just go wrong.
Yeah, it can definitely go out of control very, very fast. Probably in no real threat of dying, given his 14 hearts in red mail, but time is still time. And he doesn't know that his opponent's this far behind.
Yeah, so the first cycle was a 2, one just went to the outside, and this one here was going to be a single to wrap things up, because he got 2-3 in the first 2. There's the final hit. Just he got bothered by the one orb and lost the ability to finish off that fight. So gamercal heading on to the Ganon fight. Tempered sword, red mail, 14 hearts, half magic, and the silver arrows. This should not be a problem fight for him.
Yeah, this could be some flawless execution of Ganon. We'll see exactly what a Ganon's fight's supposed to look like. Ganon's comments are being as trolly as usual.
And getting him here in this setup here, this is perfect. Just spin him 6 times, you go down to stage 4. Extra sword hit for good measure, and gamercal pulls up the silvers. He knows where he is as far as his counts are concerned.
Yeah, getting Ganon in that corner definitely sped up that fight a lot. Getting those double spins in is very awkward if he stops 2 tiles from the side, but if he stops 1 tile from the side, you can get those double spins in very easily. Progressing through phase 3 extremely smoothly, not getting too many teleports, not getting any silly rings of fire. Just get some silver arrows into him.
Yeah, missing the torch there, misses the opportunity, but he's got him set up for a double here. 1, 2, did he get a triple? He got a triple! gamercal with a triple to end things off, and he will improve to 3-0 over Datlossit.
Textbook Ganon fight, ending with a triple just to show his skill, his mastery over the game. Finishing with a 1:52.24. It's an extremely good time, given that we had a forced double dip into a rock.
So, just to report what happened to Datlossit, just got a message from him. His computer blue screen.
Holy hell! I don't deserve that.
Oh, that's very unfortunate.
I need to get up for a second.
So we might be able to grab gamercal in here for a little post-game interview.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, Datlossit got a blue screen of death, which ended his ability to run this race. So he has taken the forfeit, but gamercal will improve to 3-0 as we welcome Datlossit into the conversation. GG.
And that was very unfortunate with your computer crashing. Nobody likes to see that in the middle of a race.
That's rough. I've been knowing that my PC has been crashing a little bit often for the past month or so, but it hasn't crashed at all this week, and I was just hoping it was not going to happen during this race, and unfortunately it happened. I know what's the cause, because I've been meaning to get a proper cooling system for ages. It's overheating. That's my fault. I might blame myself on that.
So were you able to continue the race at that point, or did you just completely lose everything?
I knew that my last statement quit after killing Coaster would not put me too far behind in progress.
Okay,
but
so you lost everything at that point. Well, you lost the ability to actually continue on with your game because your game was you're on emulator, right?
Yes, complete
Okay.
blue screen. Absolutely everything's gone. It would take too
So-
long for me to get back up, restream. It would just take too long. And just as I forfeit, gamercal was done.
So you missed the part of the turtle rock that turned out to be the nice little troll in that seed. Laser bridge shovel to the ice rod at the dig spot.
Oh my. I honestly, this was just one seed that it just completely destroyed my brain. I just made so many dumb random decisions like that I don't usually do. Like I should have checked the Smith after checking the pedestal. That was really dumb of me, and it was a really gutsy move on my part to skip Helm Sword because I usually don't skip finishing pendant dungeons. But I just had a feeling like I just got the flippers. Even through my experience, Swarm likes to be garbage in this version. I just felt like taking the chance, and I did find a book, but that didn't pay out, unfortunately.
I'm
So-
so sorry. I do not deserve this one. I am really sorry.
Well, first of all, what ended up happening to Datlossit, if you missed the conversation just a moment ago, he blue screened, but you were already in the lead at that point.
Okay.
Because what it came down to is you two had an option: Ice Palace or Turtle Rock. You can pretty much figure what Datlossit chose.
Yeah, I felt at that point because how bad my writing was to see, like having to double the Mire, going up the DM like 4 times. I felt at that point I lost so much time that I had to choose Ice Palace. If he had not gone to Ice Palace and Ice World was there, or I felt it was my only chance of winning. If it wasn't, I was gonna lose because we're at the point that by the time I was done with Ice, you probably already even T-Rock or even G Tower. There was no way I was gonna come back from it. I honestly felt I threw the seed really hard. I threw this match because so many mistakes, especially early on, because I had gloves must Mire. I thought I had them try to do Hoolan for Zora, and having to go back to Zora's domain 3 times was really bad as well. So not happy with this, but sometimes you just get those seeds that just completely destroy you. Like this seed actually just completely this seed punished you so hard for sequence breaking Death Mountain because if you went to Thieves Town first and stuff, get the lamp and stuff, you would have gone back up the DM, get the Mire, Quake, and all that stuff in one go. I got all these stuff separately, and I stupidly, for some reason, forgot to go into Hera the second time, and I had to route going into it after Dark DM.
Yeah, this was the case here where the sequence break it seemed like a good idea, but then nothing came of it. And then as gamercal found the bow down there, it started to really, and then the lamp, it really nullified that sequence break, especially considering the fact that East Death Mountain really had the first go around was the Mire, and then we found that was the first one to the Quake at the Spike Cave, getting it out of Tower Hera. We were getting concerned at some point because we were thinking you were putting off Tower Hera to be the last one to go into before Ganon's Tower, and you're going to miss out on silvers.
I actually tried to put off to like be ready for. I actually can't remember. I don't know sure why. Like I put off DM for so long. Like it was such a dumb decision. I think because after I got the bow, I just felt like that. I just took a chance that DM was going to be complete garbage, and I went to pod instead. It was definitely a gamble, but it was the most round efficiency I could have at that point. And when I found the slippers, I felt like maybe I was in an okay position. But I think after Swamp, it went absolutely downhill. I was completely baited by the flu. Couldn't enter Mire, cleared the Desert Pass for nothing.
Yep.
And then eventually by the time I went back to DM, I just felt immensely behind. Didn't help as well, this sea was just ridiculously trolling the swords. Like, I would have been fine doing Masters of Ganon, no problem, but this sea was just really bad on swords.
Yeah,
So,
one of them was in
yeah.
randomizer room.
I was gonna say the big key was Rando Room, and that was where I found the third one. Right, so first off, I apologize to anyone who's expecting a good show here because I did play like garbage in this one. My route was fine overall, apart from Quake was ages away. I didn't get that until actually the book from Swamp kind of made me go, well, either tablet or Bongo's tablet could have something. I ended up chaining it with that, because I couldn't do it the first time.
I was gonna ask you what led you up to Spike Cave before you went anywhere else, because you had a lot of spots that were still open up. With
Sure did.
Fish and Zora and things like that. So I was wondering what brought you up to Spike Cave as one of your first stops.
Yeah, it was that book from Swamp. I was thinking on chain stuff here, that book was the final thing that I got in the chain. So I've already done Desert because of fluting over there, so there was nothing out of that. But Bomba's tablet, Ether tablet could be something, and well, I can finally check Spike Cave because I didn't have any resources to do it the first time. So it's like, okay, I can go and check that now, and it's like, oh, really? It's up there? Ugh. But that was one of the only things that I really felt bad about in terms of the route. What obviously I felt bad about was dying twice to blind on 4, even though it was only on 4 hearts. It's like, no, that's, ugh. I got a spin instead of the poke on the very first thing, so the cycle got offset, and I couldn't recover it. And the first time round, tried again, didn't get it. It's like, okay, fine, I give up for now. Come back for that when you got a bit more hearts and stuff. Could have bought a potion, but no. It's probably the worst I've executed in quite a while, so that's why I'm like, I don't deserve this one. But that ice rod was pretty much the only thing, thinking, okay, if I'm winning this at all, it's because of that ice rod. Because I went from getting Quake, did Mire, then went straight up T-Rock, because I figured it's the only shot I've got. Wasn't there, Shovel was there, it was like, okay, it's got to be overworld somewhere, let's just check that first. Wow, it's actually there? Okay, this is the only shot that I have at this now. I'm like, oh.
So,
God.
I have to ask this question. What went through your mind when you found the ice rod after getting the shovel in Turtle Rock?
Yeah, it was like, okay, if there's any way that I win this now, it's on that. And it'll be the most undeserving win I've had yet, but sometimes that happens. And thinking, oh, it actually is there. Wow, okay, that's it. I guess it sort of continues the trend of Ice Rod in Turtle Rock, but in a roundabout way. Jeez.
Question from Chad asking, what item did you get that you felt like you were behind, or what item did you feel you were going to be in for a hard time?
Definitely the fire, because how late I got that, because times was right at Stumpy, and if I simply decided to do Smiths after checking past, so I could have so much earlier, because I got fire like extremely late at like an hour 3 minutes, and at that point it was going to be a coin flip for Ice Rod. I went back to Skullers because there was still an item there, wasn't it? And at that point it just came to coin flip for T-Rock and Ice Pass. I was just not feeling like T-Rock the seed, like, and honestly, like, it just seems that nowadays in this version, Ice Palace and Swamp just don't pay off anymore. Like, the flippers just hardly lead to anything, like, and I took both the baits. I could have go mode Swamp, I could have avoided Ice completely, but nope, but at that point, as I said, I had to take that chance, or I was just pretty much gonna lose for how much round decisions I did, so many bad ones, and my execution was pretty bad as well. There was some people that messed up. Like, I think the only really good fight was Armor's Knights. Blind, I messed up a little bit. Mafia was okay-ish. Bitches could have gone much more ugly. Otherwise, Aragus and Coulter were pretty bad.
Well, Coaster is one of those tough ones when you have the Master Sword, and the seed obviously put either one or both of the sword upgrades in Ganon's tower. The other one, if it wasn't in Ganon's tower, was behind the boots, and we never found the boots.
No, not at all. That was what was worrying me at the end. I was like, okay, swing roundabout here. Like, the only way I win this is with that ice rod. The main way I definitely lose this is through the Pegasus boots. Please do not be required here, because honest to God, I can't take it anymore. Just that ice rod for answering the question myself was definitely the one that was like, yeah, I'm losing if it's not in TR, and it kind of was, I guess. But it was just, there are a lot of overworld, as you know, that I still needed to check. I checked the ledge for Zora at the start, and then I was intending on going back to Hobo with that, but I accidentally landed instead of staying in the water walk, so whoops. But I knew Aoife was there, I was thinking that could be important later on. And then seeing the flute before going into Eastern, going, alright, that's at least reasonable. If I do get the boots, I know I can sneak that through, but didn't find them. Go figure. I just want to show off some tech.
We were wondering if you were going to be able to do that. Unfortunately, you weren't able to do so. So, Ileana, I know I've been talking a lot during this interview. Anything you want to ask?
I was just the seed was extremely trolly. Both you guys made a lot of the same plays in the early game, and there was maybe a minute between you throughout the entire race. It was nice to see you keeping it very, very close. You both say you've made a lot of bad rating, well, not bad, suboptimum rating decisions with pendant dungeons and full clearing swamp and stuff. But both of you did that. You made it an extremely interesting race right up until the last gamble between Ice Palace and Turtle Rock. It was a fantastic race to watch. Props to both you guys. You did a fantastic job.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks again. It's just really unfortunate that sometimes life gets in the way. Again, it's on my end because I've been way overdue to get better choices in my computer. That's the blame on me. Otherwise, I'm really sorry for everyone watching right now that we couldn't put on like a complete full show, but we did most of it, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and you can't really pull yourself down about this. You two are a very good match. This is two talented Link to the Past randomizer players that are before you here. So taking the loss to a very good player is... Somebody had to lose this race. There was no clear favorite of this race. But the good thing is that at 2-1, you're not dead. You're not considered out of this thing. You're still in amongst the good crew here that could be fighting for brackets. And good luck to both of you guys next week. Congratulations on the win, gamercal, and good luck next week, Datlossit.
Thanks again. Yeah, that's all true.
Yeah, thank you very much. And again, apologies if people were hoping for a slightly better show. I'm just disappointed myself for dying twice. That doesn't normally happen. But such is life. Sometimes you get a bit too greedy with these things. And yeah, best of luck in the future rounds, man. I expect to see you in the brackets as well. So let's get there.
Good luck to you as well. I still don't see myself reaching the brackets, but 2 wins is still a good start. But at this point, there's still some tough opponents down the road. Like, you're going into 3 wins, or you're going to be up against some really tough people, like TTH or something like Andy people. There's a lot of toughness down the road.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
The glories of being 2-1 after week 3, you get to play slightly less good players.
Except for the ones except for the ones to get unlucky and had to go up against a good opponent in the first 2 weeks and find themselves down in the 3-1 group, or the 2-1 group, rather.
I'm still remembering my Swiss from the previous tourney where I started off with Amazing Ambrose, and then losing that one, I still had over Andy for the second round. It's like, yeah, that's not an easy start. You know, not losing the first one or just losing one of the games doesn't necessarily guarantee an easy opponent. But I know what you mean. There's more chance of it at the very least. But
Yeah.
again, I still think you'll comfortably make it, man. There's plenty of rounds left, and yeah, 1 loss isn't that, even 2 losses isn't the death knell in this one. So
Yeah. I really wanted to just stress this out, that both of you runners are good players. I would not be surprised if both of you guys make it into the field of 128 come after the 7-week Swiss portion of the tournament. So good luck to the both of you the rest of the way.
Thanks
Good
again.
luck.
Thanks again as well for streaming us. Really appreciate it.
yeah, especially in the slightly awkward time for Eastern stuff, that I very much appreciate the restream here. Glad there were no hiccups on my internet at the very least. That's always good.
Yeah, UK internet's never been the greatest.
It's just because I'm miles out from civilization, but hey, that's fine. Right, I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, gamercal, Datlossit, be sure to follow them as they continue to grow amongst the Link to the Past Randomizer tournament. And so with that, we're going to wrap things up for this broadcast. Ileana, what do we got coming up later on today?
You caught me off guard there. I should go and find out. Undoubtedly, there's a lot of matches going on with tournament. The tournament is in full swing. And we have a match coming up started 20 minutes ago on ALTTPR Randomizer. I think that should have just started between Stinger PA and Yanis Zale.
Actually, that begins in 40 minutes from now. That's at 2 o'clock Eastern, so it's 1:19 now. So that's coming up in 40 minutes from now.
My bad. Time zones annoy me. There's a lot of matches starting at 2, actually. That'll be our next set of matches all starting up around then.
Yeah, our next match here on Speed Gaming 3 is going to be Ramiel Gaming versus Reg. That's coming up at 2 o'clock. And not certain who's going to be on the call for that one, but we'll have that one coming up for you in about 40 minutes. Singer PA versus Janice Deal over on ALTTPR Randomizer, as you mentioned, and Ephraim versus Ska on Speed Gaming 5. In the meantime, I think we're going to go ahead and get out of here and host Speed Gaming 4, which has the Estolia versus Zunker to the rescue, with Marsvek and Voidborn Beast on the call for that. So, Ileana, anything you want to add?
No, that's about wraps us up. See you guys on next seed. Thanks for watching.
All right, I'm Adirondack Rick. He's Ileana, and special thanks to Jighart, our tracker behind the scenes, for fusing the crew at Speed Gaming. Have yourselves a great Sunday and enjoy the final day of Week 3 of the Link to the Past Randomizer Spring Tournament.